Well, what is going on out there, guys? Luke here today, and one of the biggest IPOs to hit in a long time is coming, and with Rivian being backed by Amazon and having a huge offering, is this IPO primed to go to the moon? I will discuss that along with my thoughts on IPOs in general and how to handle them, and I'll tell you guys if I'm interested in buying Rivian and when and all that good stuff. You guys come here for the truth without the hype, so that's what you're going to get today in regards to this. So hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you like the truth without the hype. And download your free stock investing checklist to help you out. And you guys asked for an extension, so the discount on the Market Insiders private group stays until November 15th, where I've sent out 72 buys now over 19 stocks, and my swing trades as well so far that have 2x and 3x respectively. Plus you get 4 free courses, live weekly Q&As, exclusive videos, and a ton more, so check out the pinned comment. And before blasting me for promoting it, I have no ads, no sponsors. This is what YouTube pays me in a month, and I give half of that and half the group's proceeds to charity. So let's address the elephant in the room first. Yes, my studio here is not complete either because I completely suck. I mean, seriously, I have 2 partially built studios in 2 parts of the country to accommodate various projects that I have running, and neither one of them are done. Having said all that, I have some cool stuff planned to not just bring more value to my group, but also to bring more value to you guys as supporters of this channel, so stay tuned for that. But on to the topic at hand, and that would be Rivian, which is going to be a massive IPO. I suspect the number will be big and the hype train will start to roll almost immediately. There will be favorable news articles and news coverage, and it will be the talk of Wall Street. But let me be very clear with you guys. I have no interest in this IPO, but I do have interest in Rivian overall, so I will give you the details on that in just a second. And furthermore, I have no interest in any IPO in general, and here is why. With very few exceptions, it is absolutely rare for the all-time low price for a stock to be on IPO day. It just honestly doesn't happen for a simple reason. Companies are brought public through the IPO process, which is handled by a bank. And that bank is compensated in most cases by the size of the IPO, so they have a huge incentive to push that number up higher. And of course the executives and everybody else involved in the process wants that price higher too. So they are more than willing to float fancy investing presentations and go on every show and do every interview possible to discuss the best case scenario to get the valuation as sky high as possible. And in the background, the banks are also talking with large investors and funds to gauge interest and to see what they are willing to buy and to hype it up to them too. And of course they know in today's investing environment, if they can generate enough excitement, the retail crowd will just jump on board too. But the big winners in the end are the early investors, executives, and others who were in before it was ever even thought of going public. It is not usually the people that buy on IPO day. Now I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is rare that it just goes up and never comes back. So for me personally, the risk-reward proposition is just not there in my opinion, but that is less a reflection on the company than it is the process itself and the intent behind it. I mean, let's look at Coinbase's IPO for example. It had a ton of hype and it quickly shot up after IPO day to over $420. That IPO even got large YouTubers and fund managers to buy into the hype, but it quickly fell and it kind of just kept falling before bottoming out at around $200 or so, and it kind of stayed in the low 200s for several months. That is when I decided to buy my shares in those low 200s. Now, could it have gone lower? Absolutely, sure it could have. But I had carefully done the analysis and knew that price that was presented the right risk-reward proposition to me. Bottom line with any IPO, it can take time for the market to figure out what valuation they are willing to pay for a stock, and unless the company has been around forever, it really is a guess as to what the actual revenue numbers will be, what will trip up the company, and what they will do great overall. So I prefer to gamble less and see how those things shake out before investing. But it is really hard when the noise is everywhere and it's all telling you to buy now before it's too late. So if I'm not buying the IPO, why am I saying that I have interest in Rivian? Well, basically for all the reasons you guys probably know. I mean, Amazon being a part owner and a customer is a huge draw, and the fact that they are copying a lot of Tesla's business model, which by the way is just crushing it in every way right now, is kind of really appealing to me and something legacy automakers cannot do at all. And they are a niche that Tesla won't dominate. Now, whoa, slow down before blasting me. I love the Cybertruck. It's one of my all-time favorite vehicles, and it's the only Tesla that appeals to me from an aesthetic standpoint. I mean, I would love to own it, and I will actually own it in the future. But putting my love of Cybertruck aside, it is not going to appeal as much to the average truck buyer like a Rivian will. And that's just the truth, guys. As much as it hurts me, it's the truth. But despite all these positives and more that I'm not going to rehash here again, Justifying this valuation of a company that is in such an early stage is just not the right risk reward for me. They will have production issues as they try to scale. It's going to happen. And will the trucking community have less interest than we think? What are the other supply chain issues that are going to creep up over the next year? If any of those things happen at all, it can send an early stage growth company stock tumbling, which works out perfectly for the patient investors. I get a chance to see how they produce. I get to see how the management team actually executes. I get to see what the market, not an investment bank with a large fee in the balance, but what the market actually will pay after the hype dies down. So I basically get a free preview and get the answers to the test in a sense by just being patient. And on the off chance it runs up and keeps running and I just missed it, well, I'm okay with that. I don't need to catch the unicorn in order to be a great investor. So I will just watch the fun from the sidelines and let a quarter or two pass or more and then assess from there if I want to buy or not. So hopefully this was helpful, and let me know down in the comments your take on the IPOs and if you're willing to buy Rivian and why. I would love to hear your take on that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.